Hello everybody out there and welcome back to another episode of The World's Finest. And in this review, we've got 3 number ones coming your way. From Boom Studios, we have Klaus number 1. And from Dynamite, we have James Bond number 1 and Cage Hero number 1. Now, let's start with Klaus number 1. It's the only Boom book here. It is a 6-issue miniseries, and this was recommended to me by several people. So I decided, alright, I'm going to check it out. It's written by Grant Morrison, and everybody knows how I feel about Grant Morrison when it comes to Superman, but I said, hey, outside of Superman, I've read a lot of Grant Morrison's work, and I've liked it. So, Klaus is apparently the story of Santa before he becomes Santa, and in this book, Klaus is one beefy, badass man, I'm going to say that much. He is basically a skin trader. He trades skins and goods, and he goes into this town, and he remembered being there a while back, and the town was very welcoming, very warm, very nice. He had kids playing in the streets, and this time around, everything's bad, and he goes into this bar looking for the best meat, and he trades some furs for it, and the more he asks questions, the more the bartender's like, you need to stop asking questions. The more questions you ask, things are not gonna, you're not gonna get the answers you want, basically. And he just goes too far with his questions, and he gets his goods stolen. He gets tied up and basically hunted out of town and beyond the town walls. And we find out that this Klaus has a wolf, a big old white wolf, as a matter of fact. And he actually comes to Klaus's rescue, and they run off. But now he has no clothes, he's lost his clothes, he's lost his goods, and he has no food. So he ends up doing a few things to get all of those, minus the clothes, back. We see that the kingdom is run by this really disgusting father and son. The son is not happy with anything he has, and because he has no toys that he's happy with, no kids in the kingdom can play with the toys. So this is kind of like the version of Santa Claus that we know, except of course redone in Grant Morrison's way. And badass, definitely, with blood, gore, and all this other crazy stuff that goes on, which is awesome. So now Klaus is in the forest somewhere, and he's like, give me guidance, I need guidance. And he drinks this healing kind of soup because he's beaten up badly. And he kind of falls off, and there's these spirits, and he starts whittling away, and the next morning, I believe this isn't spoiler-ish, he wakes up with all of these toys. So now what's he going to do with all these toys? Toys are outlawed in the town that he was just in. And he kind of wants to get involved. He mentions it several times, and he's like, I know it's not our business. I know it's not our business. But you can see he wants to get involved because he doesn't like that the children are basically doomed to do nothing because the prince or the king don't allow children to play, and the town is basically fallen into dark times. So obviously Klaus is going to get involved within the next 5 issues. I really liked this first issue. I really liked it a lot. I think the artwork in this book really, Dan Mora did a great job with the artwork in this book. I loved it. Santa never looked so badass in any book, and Santa has a wolf. Okay? This book has a wolf in it. Everybody knows a wolf is my favorite wild animal. I loved it. This was a great first issue. Alright, we're moving into Dynamite now. Warren Ellis's James Bond 007. When I saw Warren Ellis was writing this, I was very interested. It opens up actually with James Bond chasing after this person and, spoiler kind of, killing him, because this is a person who killed 008. And now, because 008's dead, M, or Q or M, there's too many letters in the James Bond universe, but I like how they changed ethnicities a little bit, unless I haven't seen any of the newer James Bond movies, so pardon me if I'm a little bit off here. M, no, I was right. M basically calls James into the office questioning what he's done, and basically gives 007 his work plus 008's work till they can find a new 008. And policies have changed. So 007 goes out on this mission that's supposedly very easy that 008 had left behind. And he's not too happy about losing his guns. He's not too happy about having to follow certain policies. And we get little tidbits on the villains and a person who's going to be targeting James in the next issue. This was a great setup issue. The artwork's really great. I like how James Bond doesn't look like any of the actors. James Bond looks just like a normal James Bond. It doesn't look like Pierce Brosnan. It doesn't look like the current James Bond. It doesn't look like any of the previous Bonds. It's just a comic version of James Bond. That's a huge plus in my opinion. I was kind of skeptical. I was worried where the artist was going to go with James Bond, which one he was going to choose, and I'm glad he chose none. He actually made his own version of James Bond, which was perfect. Perfect. Q is the one that does the gadgets. We didn't get to see any Q gadgets this time, which was kind of sad, because usually when I see a James Bond movie, I love seeing Q's gadgets. And the only thing Q does in this book is take away... oh, there is one gadget. I apologize. A bullet that goes in one way but comes out 8 ways. I'm sorry, that's right. The artwork reminded me. That was an interesting gadget, but that's all we saw. I'm used to seeing multiple things from Q, but still, I thought that was really cool, the bullet. I can't believe I completely forgot about that. But James Bond, if you're a Bond fan, you're going to love this book. The artwork's gorgeous. The story is told by Warren Ellis, so it's really good also. Great setup issue. Let's leave it at that. Now, this book I wasn't sure I was going to really jump into, but I had to. Cage Hero issue number 1. One person recommended I check this out, and I said, okay, why not? I mean, I had a lot of time to read one day, so I jumped into Cage Hero. Cage Hero opens up with this boy, Ryder. It's his 14th birthday. Obviously, a lot of these hero books, when they become superheroes, they're like 14. Go figure. And he is a wrestler. He is his grandfather. He just moved in, so he's kind of trying to make new friends. He kind of has no friends yet, but he is popular for his wrestling. And this day at school, everything kind of goes wrong. First, he's too busy. It opens up with him in the attic, actually, looking at some old pictures of his parents and finding a little medallion. And the grandfather kind of whisks everything away. He asks if he can have a picture of his parents just to take to school with him, you know, something. And the grandfather won't let him. So that's very suspicious why the grandfather won't let him have anything with his parents, any medallions or anything. And then later on in the book, he actually tries to bury it in the backyard. And Ryder's kind of having a bad day at school. You know, this kid he sees bullied. He, you know, fights to defend him. His mind is a million miles away because of that medallion that he saw that his grandfather wouldn't let him know about. So he had a very horrible first day. But the next day, after a wrestling tournament where he does excellent, and he has this weird ability. He had a premonition of he saw a little bit into the future, and he found it weird. But he was able, and this was during a wrestling match, and he came out on top. He thinks because of it. So I find that interesting. So he has an ability to see into the future a little bit. And then this guy with a hat on, kind of like covering his face, comes to him and asks him if he wants to save the world. The grandfather immediately steps in and is like, nope, he has homework to do, he's busy, yada yada. And Ryder's kind of like, I feel like Ryder was really sheltered by the grandfather for some reason. And then the grandfather, spoiler alert, has a heart attack. So now there's nobody to kind of hide Ryder away, and Ryder's approached by the guy again. And the guy explains a little bit more in detail about his family, and let's leave it at that. It does start off at the Vietnam War, and it kind of connects a little bit to everything going on with the Ryder's family. I'm not going to spoil what. But it turns out that Ryder actually has a very unique and special thing about him. And we find that out at the end of the issue. But it turns out, while he is found by one of the good guys, one of the bad guys has been following him as well. So the good guy wants to protect him before he's killed by the bad, but the bad guy shows up at the end as well. So now it looks like there's going to be a throwdown between good and evil in the next issue. I was pleasantly surprised with this issue. I really like the artwork. Ryder is definitely a character I got very interested in. And now I'm interested in seeing what his powers are. And we find out that there are others out there that they're looking for. other descendants that have special mutations or abilities. So I'm really excited to see how this team is going to form up and what exactly Ryder... Obviously Ryder's going to probably be the leader, possibly. I don't know. But I'm really interested in seeing where this is going to go. Will Ryder's grandfather survive the heart attack? Will he tell Ryder the truth finally? I don't know, but I'm really interested to see more about the father and mother as well. We got very little on them, and I'm wondering why we got very little on Ryder's parents. I'm wondering where exactly they are. This is a really great first issue. If you want to check it out, I think that this book has a lot of promise to it. So between this and James Bond, I'm really excited for both these books out of Dynamite. And I really love Klaus out of Boom Studios. Thank you so much, everybody, for your recommendation with that book. I am reading Monstrous, which was also recommended to me. However, it is taking me a little bit of time because this book's a very big book. So Monstrous will be coming soon. Maybe I'll post a review on Frontline next week. I have a lot of books still to read, and that book is gigantic. And I have a few other books that I still promised a few people I was going to review from New York Comic Con. So got a lot of books coming your guys' way soon. And we got another special that's going to be coming out on Monday. So keep an eye out on Monday for a really special, I believe, 5-part review. So look forward to that. Till then, guys, that's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of any of these #1 issues. I definitely recommend all 3 to try out. They were really great. Let me know what you guys thought of any of the #1s I mentioned here in the comments below. If you liked it, you didn't like it, agree, disagree with what I have to say, your opinions on the books. Love hearing from you guys and love talking back and forth with you guys. And while you're down there in the description, bunch of links. Check them out at your leisure. Till next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see you guys really soon in the next video.